I know it's Cricbuzz Chatter. I know we come to you. I know you've got to work through good times and bad, through sunshine and rain, through with good people and evil. You've got to do it all. But before DK gets into how long I've been around and how good or bad this result is, let me tell you, I've seen some great results. I've seen some very ordinary results. But 3-0 to New Zealand at home on Turners in the heat. This has to be one of the worst results in India. DK, how are you? Hello.
Hello, Harsha. Not
Bhavnara.
the best mood, must admit. Walking into today, I felt there was hope. But today was just the last nail in the coffin in terms of how well New Zealand has played in this series. That scorecard will just tell you everything about it. India got a 28-run lead. New Zealand clawed their way back to get 174, but India were bundled out with just nothing to show for in the last innings, barring one man. 25 runs is what they lost with, and it could have been a lot more if not for that one innings through the middle. It is a bit of a sad state, a sad result, one that is eclipsed through history, and we've never ever been whitewashed at home. It's always
In,
a
in,
first
in,
for today.
in a series of three or more tests, never lost 3-0 ever in your history. And the interesting thing is, yeah, Rohit Sharma admitted that he got it wrong in Bengaluru. But still, even though you got 46, that is where you had to point a question at the bowlers for allowing New Zealand to get to 400. Then just one good batting performance in six efforts. And then you decided, okay, we'll win with spin, and we lost with spin. And then you said, right, on the red soil surface, we'll play with spin. 121 all out. I actually thought, while Pant and Washington Sundar were batting, that the game would be won. With Ashwin, the moment you bring it to under 20, no, DK, I think the bowling side starts to panic as well. I don't know if they would have retained the patience. They needed to bring it under 20, I thought. That partnership, Ashwin and Washington.
You had to bring it down to 20 with at least 4 wickets to spare, Harsha. That's the truth. You can't have 2 wickets to spare. You always feel on a pitch like this, it's just one ball away. And that was always around the cards. The way Rishabh Pant batted, there was fear inflicted. The way the others batted, you always felt that the odd shot would be a boundary, but predominantly they don't mind defending. In that lies the chance of getting wickets. And as I said, we can keep speaking about, oh, you have to throw intent, you have to play shots, all of that, but you need certain skill set as well to do it. And Rishabh Pant showed it today. He wasn't a one-trick pony. It was a one-man show because he played sweep, he played reverse sweep, he stepped out, and in between that, he was finding ways to get off strike. So he is the kind of player who showed how important it is to have certain skill sets to play on turning pitches. And sadly, India, no one else could do that.
You know, I think something like 21 or 22 batters played less than 15 balls. But if I can ask the producer to put up that scorecard once again, it tells a very interesting story because Rishabh Pant has made 64, Washington Sundar made 12, which was exactly the number of byes. Now, if byes are joint second highest scorer, you've got a problem. Rohit Sharma 11, Virat Kohli 1. Inevitably, it will come there. And DK, you know, and I've been a Rohit Sharma fan for a very, very long time. And I like his approach to the game. I love the way he makes everyone feel at home. I loved him as a captain and as a batter throughout the 50 over World Cup and the T20 World Cup. I did not understand today. I asked him that at the presentation, and he said, look, when it doesn't come off, it looks very ugly. But with totals like these, you've got to take the attack to the bowlers very quickly. But I didn't get that.
Harsha, as a batter, what Rohit Sharma has done since the time he's taken over captaincy, mainly in white ball cricket, the one thing that he's infused is he's been the torchbearer for intent. He's shown the aggressive intent. He is like doing it and has been successful doing it. Now is his time where he's unsuccessful. But my question to Rohit Sharma would be that intent is a positive one for white ball cricket, one Indian cricket very much needed. In Test cricket, what I feel is that intent is getting him into a safe space where he feels when in trouble, use that. It's not a method where he is using it like he is using it in white ball cricket, one that Indian team needed. hear a lot of times. Today's knock, I'm not too fussed about, but what I'm saying in general is when he is beaten a couple of times, when he is put under a little bit of pressure, an immediate instinct is to play an attacking shot fraught with risk. Now, with that comes the ability to get out as well. In Test cricket, sometimes the ability to fight. And we have seen that. And I know you raised this point in domestic cricket. You saw Dilip Trophy and said, DK, what is happening here when there's a little bit of grass and there's hard for the batters? The immediate instinct is for batters to go over the top and just diffuse pressure that way. Is there no other method? Because there have been many players over the years who've done it differently. Is this the only method? I think it comes down to a lot of things, Harsha. I think his safe space right now is, in Rohit Sharma's case, is to attack. And then in that, he feels he is a lot more comfortable doing because he's seen that success. But when it doesn't go right, it always will give the image that it has given so far.
Yeah. DK, more than the second shot, let's take a look at what he said actually. We've got a quote from Rohit Sharma about the shot. He says something like this will be a low point. I take responsibility. Shot selection not up to the mark. I played a shot, but I don't regret it. I've done well with it in the past. My issue with the shot he got out, was that it closely followed the first shot. To me, the first was more bizarre than the second because he charged after being hit twice. And when he charged, he was not in control. He got it off the inner half of the bat, luckily cleared mid on. That shot goes up in the air. It looks even worse than the one that he got out on. So my thinking was after that shot, this one I could not understand. I mean, Rohit's played the shot any number of times. He pulls very well, but it's also being talked about because he's now gone 10 innings against Bangladesh and New Zealand at home. And you never disrespect opposition. You've played at the highest level. You know that better than anybody else. You never disrespect opposition. But 133 in 10 innings against those, you've got to be a little worried.
Harsha, when we speak about numbers, I'm a coach today, so yeah, numbers always paint a certain picture, and that's fair. I think it is very revealing as to what's happening. But I would like to go back to Rohit Sharma's case in point being, what is he doing right now? I think if you have a look at both his dismissals, both times he was looking to pull and then backed out of it. In the first innings, he went to pull and then backed out, and then he had no other option because the right shoulders are open. All he has to do is just close the face on the ball because he has nowhere else to go. He can't just drop his wrist because he opened up. And that's a natural thing for a batter. And he got out and slips. Today, he was so hell-bent on scoring that he picked a ball that wasn't there for the pull. When Rohit Sharma is batting well, he picks the right ball to play the pull. This wasn't a ball that could be pulled. But what transpired before that is what is forcing his mind to think, let me bat aggressively, which is he got hit on the pad. There was a massive appeal, a close one, slightly close one, went down the leg and slightly above the stumps. The next one hit his thigh pad, another big appeal, and then he's decided, okay, it's hard here. So the one thing that Rohit Sharma is not doing, which he did very well when he took up his role as an opener, is trust his technique. He went to England, he left a lot of balls. He decided that I can play shots, but what I'm going to do is anything outside the off stump, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to have the mental strength to bat long. He got 100, he got a 90 at Lords, all of that. So I think that's where he needs to go back to trust his ability to defend and see through tough faces. Yes, attack is an option, but that will only come better if you trust your technique. Because you're worried you might get out defending or playing a soft shot, you're trying to attack. That is fraught with risk because if it doesn't come off, it looks silly.
Best attacking players have had a very solid defense. But increasingly, words like defense and patience, and I know I probably sound like I'm 270 years old when I say this, but words like defense and patience and hang in there, I think hang in there was the method that Pujara employed that won you the 2018 and had a big part in winning Australia 21. But that increasingly seems to go out because people are saying, look, I don't know if there's a ball with my name on it. I might as well make the most of it before that ball comes. So that is what got me a little worried. And that is why I'm worried about the 46s and the 50, 60s and the 120 all outs and whatever. So that worries me. I think it worries more than just me because we've got a Cricbuzz Chatter question on that. And I'm going to throw that to DK. Robin says, I'm a fan, and we all are, Robin. We're all fans. As an average Indian fan, I'm worried about Rohit and Kohli, but whose form going into BGT is a bigger worry for you guys? Why did you put the plural, Robin? I could have left I would have left DK to answer it if it said guy.
Oh, that's probably very hard. I think in terms of form, both of them are not at their best right now. But the bigger challenge is what happens between the years. Have a look at this stat, a stellar stat. Before 2021, where they were to where they are today. That is not a very healthy picture for sure. So, as a batter, as a sportsman, the one thing that you thrive on is confidence. Right now, for both Virat and Rohit, confidence is not at its peak. Hence the vulnerability, hence the doubts. And this exactly shows that even the greatest can have tough moments, and the best of players will find a way to claw back from here. But that requires a lot of work physically in terms of going out there and batting hours, because it's not just a question of I batted so much, but all I need is mental energy. Maybe you're not batting well enough, hence you need to bat a lot more to pick up length better. And coming back to this line that you say, it's a very easily thrown about lines. Certain things in cricket, especially, I feel are easily thrown about adjectives, lines. One is he's a great. That great word is thrown about too often. That I'm not okay with. That and by no means I'm saying Virat and Rohit are not great. They are great, but I'm just generally referring. And the other one is with your name on it. Now, if there is a ball with your name on it, it is a very decent line, but one that is exaggerated. The ball with your name on it is on tough pitches when you feel there will be one where you can't do much about it. But if you have a good technique, the chances of that ball being minimal is much better. But if you don't have a good technique and what's happening between the ears is troubling you, almost every second ball in these kind of pitches will have your name on it. That's for sure.
I could not agree more because what happens between your ears determines what happens with bat in hand or ball in hand. How are you feeling about yourself? Sometimes, as fans, you believe that there are superheroes who take the field. And soon after he came back, people are asking for selfies, photos, and there was this belligerent guy throwing belligerent stuff at me. And I just, in my old age, I try and be a little patient. I just turned to him and said, have you ever done badly at work? Because these are people like you, except that when they work in front of everybody. So when you're feeling bad about going to work, you don't do very well. I don't know what they're thinking about as they go to work. I don't know about priorities too. I mean, I know Virat's a family person. He's the second child. He told me once the second child changes everything in one of the very, very rare conversations that we've had. But he missed three test matches in Australia. He missed five test matches against England at home, and he didn't play a Ranji Trophy game. And this is not a critique of Virat. It's as much about a very packed season with T20 and IPL. But the last first class game, Ranji Trophy game that Sachin Tendulkar played was in 2013. The last Ranji Trophy game that Virat Kohli played was in 2012. And I think from time to time, just to get those long innings in, I would like to see them play domestic cricket, but I don't know. I mean, when you play at a very high level, sometimes your thinking is different. I know SMG didn't like to play in front of, for example, he didn't like to play matches that didn't have much meaning towards the end of his career. But are you worried going into the Border Gavaskar Trophy?
How can anyone not be worried, Harshita? And let's not focus on individuals. Let's focus on the team as a whole. They actually haven't batted well and bowled well as well. And so, walking into a series like Australia, where you know how strong they are, yes, we've got the better of them in the last two series, doesn't mean this series will be anything similar to what it was before. They are a much better, well-oiled unit. They know their strengths. Pat Cummins is a leader now who's obviously taken them to a very good point as well. And Pat Cummins, you said the other day as well, hasn't won a series against India yet. So he has a point. We'll put all that into context, but most importantly, the Indian team will go a little short on confidence. There is no hiding from that. That is for sure. The India has never lost in a series at home, or rather whitewashed in a series at home. That is three test matches or more in a long time. That's a big, big, big loss, Harsha.
I thought the third senior player, just towards the end of the series, started to show some form, even though he picked up two wickets with the one that spun the other way. But there are four senior players in this side: Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Ravichandran Ashwin, Ravindra Jadeja. Jadeja's picked up a 10-wicket haul because Jadeja on these kind of pitches, when Jadeja is 75 years old, he'll pick up 10 wickets, just if he's got strength in his shoulders left. But I thought towards the end, Ashwin just started to come back in. And the reason we are talking more about Rohit and Virat than Ashwin and Jadeja is that they are support players in Australia, while they are match winners here. Rohit and Virat have to become match winners in Australia. And so we are talking about those two batters more than the others. So, yes, very, very worrisome. As I said, I worry a little bit about the patience. 3-0, no. I mean, when you've got dust on the pitch and heat in the air, that is what the opposition doesn't like. So we created conditions that the opposition doesn't like, with dust on the ground and heat in the air, and we lost to those conditions. So while before we move on, I just thought I'd say I've been a fan of New Zealand cricket for a very long time because I like simple, hardworking people. That is what I had to do in life. I see a bit of myself there. I've admired New Zealand cricket for a very long time. My admiration for them has gone to another level. So while we look at what India did wrong, I think you got to take your hat off and say simple, hardworking people. Will Young came with an average of 28. He was player of the series. Daryl Mitchell went through us about an hour when he could not run, and he hung in there and produced an innings of well, what 80 odd in the first innings. Will O'Rourke came, picked up wickets, Santner picked wickets, Ejaz Patel picked wickets. I love Glenn Phillips, man. I don't know what he is. I don't know if he knows what he is, but whatever he does, he comes and does something. I like such players. You've got to admire New Zealand.
So much to admire. They had a poor series in South Africa, Sri Lanka, where they got out, rather they lost because they followed on. That's the kind of series they are. They were down and out. Now, if at all anything, India can probably take inspiration going into Australia because they must have felt similar coming to India. But what a performance they put up. No Kane Williamson. Tim Southee, who's probably not firing as a bowler. General, usual players who have done well. Like Tom Latham, for example, didn't have his best series, just the one knock in Pune. Nothing other than that. But overall, Devin Conway, Rachin Ravindra, even somebody like the likes of Matt Henry, just valuable performances. Obviously, the Santas and the Ejaz Patel don't need to talk. Glenn Phillips, brilliant. Will Young, star of the series with the bat in terms of how his approach was. Every time Indian team were on top, he came in and he just doused the fire so nicely with the way he approached his batting. So it's a great sign for New Zealand cricket. We speak so much about Indian cricket. I think New Zealand cricket is going through a bit of a crisis because a lot of players are opting to move out of the contract. They want to pledge their skills outside in franchise tournaments. But something like this will boost the morale of the players to say, wow, it's valuable to play Test cricket. And those are great things to happen in Test cricket. So I really am very happy for them. You know, the likes of Trent Bolt, who's been around for so long, he's been to this country, Kane Williamson, and never won a series. And for them to do it without these stars, what more can you ask for?
Let's look at the positives then, because there are always positives. And I've always believed living like that. That when you're down, that is when you look for the positives rather than pushing even more people down. So there were positives for India. What I liked was, and one of the reasons I'm not as hopeless, feeling as hopeless about the Border Gavaskar Trophy is it was the next gen that stood up. I don't know if there's still a passing of the baton, if that is happening at the moment. It looks like it is. But who are the players who produce fairly substantial performances? Shubman Gill did. Yashasvi Jaiswal threatened too. I think he'll be a little disappointed that he didn't do more. But Yashasvi Jaiswal loomed as a threat at all times. Rishabh Pant, and I'm very, very happy for young Washington Sundar. I've always rated as a fine player. So here are 4 young players, or tomorrow's players who did well. So that I was happy about. The other reason, and we're going to talk a lot before the Border Gavaskar Trophy, is that in those conditions, India tend to bat better actually than the conditions that we had over here. But so to me, the positives were the youngsters, and the positives, big positive was Rishabh Pant. Certainly in this Test match, his attitude and his talent shone through.
Couldn't have put it better. Bang on, Rishabh Pant was probably the best thing that happened in this Test match. Yesterday, I got a 10 for, but Rishabh Pant's batting just outskilled anyone else across teams. Just the shot making skill that he's got, batting at almost over 100 in both the innings in terms of strike rate, mixing it with good defense, but constantly putting pressure back with shots that he is good at. There's a lesson for you, how you want to do it. He is exemplary on turning pitches. His game plan is brilliant. He uses his feet, he sweeps, log sweeps, reverse sweeps, paddle sweeps, but again, uses it very judiciously. One, to put away the bowlers, and then he comes back to his defense, rotates strike, keeps himself busy, just everything you require. India need a couple more with that kind of game plan when they play on spinning pitches. Because what baffles me is they are using the tried and tested method of you playing on spinning pitches. But the main guy who actually has bailed us out of a lot of situations is Akshar Patel. If you do look at the record in the recent past, plenty of times his batting has come to the fore, apart from his brilliant skills with the ball. Anyway, I don't want to digress too much, but Pant was brilliant. Washington couldn't be happier for him. Yes, he comes from my same state. But what was beautiful is rather, when you are in Washington's shoes, haven't played a test match for 3.5 years, you manifest saying, I want to be part of the series. Again, they don't pick you, but then here you get the opportunity and then you make it work. Now, that is some special skill mentally more than anything else. He bowled very well, was consistent, batted almost every time with a lot of assurity. He had to, the two times that he's gotten out in the 14 innings he's played is only because he ran out of partners. He was the last wicket to fall. So it tells you the man is ready to achieve big things, and he will be hoping he gets a run in the 11 consistently, and he deserves it.
Yeah, I actually believe at this stage he is a little more batter than bowler. It seems strange to say that when he's batting at number 8. At this stage, I think he's a little bit more batter than bowler. But I was amazed at how many people came to watch this game. I know festive period, holiday time, Sunday morning, possibility of an India test win, and one Wankhede was about 70-80% full. But the cameras pick up faces, DK. The cameras pick up faces. And you could look at the face and you could see a whole exhibition of emotions. And once Jadeja and Rishabh started to score, they were clapping singles. They were there all along. They were cheering all along. And I thought the crowd really came into it. And that's why I said specifically at the presentation that I said, well done, because we keep talking about what's happening to Test cricket. I think as long as India is playing well, as long as there's hope, they will come. So happy to say that. There's one other factor while we are on Rishabh Pant that a lot of you would be talking about, discussing in your own groups as well. That is where I'm going to put the man who's asked for many DRSs himself and has studied them at great length. I'm going to put him in the hot spot. Rishabh Pant, Paul Rifle, flutter on ultra edge. What was your reading?
First thing, you have to understand now, this is my opinion versus Paul Rifle's. From the evidence that was shown on air, I couldn't see the deflection. But Paul Rifle will argue saying, I felt there was a deflection, and there ends the matter there. I felt it was not out because there wasn't enough conclusive evidence to overturn the decision that was given by the standing umpire, Mr. Ray Illingworth. But Paul Rifle felt, yes, there was an edge. And hence it had to be ruled in the favor of, in the favor of the bowling team for that side. But what would have definitely cleared our doubts is hot spot, which wasn't available. But with what evidence was there, I thought personally that it didn't hit the bat. I felt it hit the pad, bat hit the pad, and then the ball just moved inside. But that's my opinion.
The generally accepted principle is that you stay with the on-field umpire unless, as DK said, you have conclusive evidence to the contrary. Now, conclusive evidence can be a big spike. Sometimes they go with a flutter as well. But the conclusive evidence is when that flutter, that murmur or the spike cannot have come from anywhere else, that is conclusive evidence. Or if you can show that the ball has passed the alternate origin of sound, then you can be absolutely certain. Now, there were two origins of sounds here. One, I think, when the bat hit the ground or the pad, and then when the ball passed the bat. In the opinion of Paul Rifle, there was a deviation. I think Simon was on air with you. I think whatever he thought, there was a deviation as well. But was that so obvious? I'm not 100% sure there was. There was a little deviation, maybe there was a little murmur, maybe, but sometimes in this case you see what you want to see. But I'm going a little bit. I'm going well. No, you can't go a little bit. I'm going with what DK and Rohit said, that I didn't think there was enough to conclusively prove otherwise. Well, that's our view, and so we will stay with that. As it turned out, that was Ajaz Patel's comeback moment against Rishabh Pant. That was, to me, DK, one of the most fascinating things. Ajaz Patel to Rishabh Pant. Now, Ajaz Patel to everybody else was one bowler. Ajaz Patel to Rishabh Pant was one bowler because Rishabh was going at him at well over run a ball. He was taking wickets at the other end. And in the post match, he just said to me, he said he was so tough to bowl to because he's in incredible form. But he said he slowed down, but he bowled quicker to Rishabh Pant. He slowed
I
down after lunch yesterday and got a little more turn. But he bowled quicker to Rishabh Pant.
think in the question lies the answer itself, Harsha. He is under
Ayyo.
pressure. He is under
Like
pressure.
a proper interviewer, I'm giving answers rather than asking questions.
He was bowling anywhere between 84 to 87 to batters other than Rishabh Pant. For Rishabh Pant, his average speed was 93, Harsha. There ends the matter. I don't think anybody should have any doubt. He was trying to bowl it flat and fast. And when you try to bowl flat and fast, you end up earning short. And that's why those 12 buys that Harsha spoke about, which was the second highest run getter along with Washington, happened because the control wasn't there for him at length. He is someone who likes bowling slow, and the figures also will tell you 6 for 57, and almost all 6 wickets were gotten when he bowled slow. But he couldn't to Rishabh Pant because of fear of being hit for sixes, which he happened in the first inning, happened before lunch on second day. And as soon as Rishabh got out, things changed for Ajaz Patel. He slowed it down, bowled on the stumps, great. But again, today when he was batting, the pressure was telling. He was bowling short into the legs, into the hip, wanted to give him a single, but didn't know how to do it. And Rishabh Pant is not an easy batter to bowl to when he is in that mindset when he wants to take on a bowler. He's got great shots and he mixes it up with unorthodoxy as well. So overall, it was hard to bowl to him. And Ajaz Patel, the bowler to the other 10 compared to Rishabh Pant, was very different. But all in all, he will take Mumbai pitch, keep it in his back pocket for his life because he loves bowling on this pitch. I don't think he finds any other pitch better to bowl at in his life than Mumbai.
He got 30% of his career wickets in 4 innings at Wankhede Stadium. I mean, it helps. Bounce always helps spinners. His kind of spinner, bounce will help even more. Red soil wicket would help him even more. But to pick up those many wickets, I mean, the others played on those wickets as well. So well played, Ajaz Patel. Very well played, Glenn Phillips. I mean, Glenn Phillips is some guy who took up off-spin bowling because he was bored of what to do in the nets. He said, I gave up wicket keeping because I was bored. I was just jack in the box. I was active. I was running around. Do you know a wicket keeper like that? All of you who's always active, who's bored, is moving around all the time. But unlike some wicket keepers who become analysts on Cricbuzz, this man wanted to bowl off spin. And from there to come up and pick up 3 wickets is some player, man. Glenn Phillips, he's some player.
We speak so much about his bowling, which has been phenomenal, very effective. But
Yeah.
the 24 runs that he got yesterday,
Great.
it was such a good 24, I feel. They were kind of struggling. He came in and played some serious shots off the back foot. Bang! He sent 2 into the
No,
stands.
5 6s, DK. 5 6s in that period. 3 from Phillips, 1 from Ajaz, 1 from Matt Henry.
30 runs. And that's where the
Adi.
test is.
Adi. I mean, you can say Test match turned on many things because they didn't take a DRS against Rishabh Pant. They dropped 2 catches. So there were a lot of things. In low scoring games, you can assign things. But at that point, those 5 6s, I think, were something that you won't remember 5 years from now. But that 26 of 14 balls, 24, 26 was fantastic. Now, when we started this home season, 2 Test matches against Bangladesh, 3 against New Zealand. India never lost a series to New Zealand. New Zealand have won only 2 out of 17 Test matches before they came in. The feeling was, yeah, we're winning 4 or 5 at least. We're winning 5. You don't get draws these days unless there's rain. We're winning all of them. If you win all of them, a draw or a win in Australia was more than enough. I thought that second test against Bangladesh was fantastic, but not in my wildest dreams. If you had told me it's going to be 3-0 to New Zealand, I would have said, go and see one more of those superhero movies, man.
True, Harsha. The more you speak about it, I'm just thinking of the mindset that at the start of the home season, the players must have had walking in 5 Test matches here, and we are able to win 5 or 4 or 5. That's what everybody thought. Then walking into BGT, the pressure is far lesser. One more chance of the World Test Championship final. Now it looks very bleak, to say the least. India will find it extremely hard to get anywhere close to that final because they're playing 5 test matches in Australia, down under, and it's never easy winning 1 test, leave alone winning all 5. So at this point of time, I think India's chances have dwindled for sure.
You know, this is talk about winning 4-0 or 5-0. That is to keep control in your own hands. Now, before we finish, let's just cast our eyes on what is likely to what are the possibilities in this World Test Championship final. There was, if you see the 10,000-meter races, sometimes you see this runner running all by himself, some 300 meters behind, running, dung, 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 and the cameras are also not on that person. They're focusing on the first four. Then suddenly you start to think, if someone is taking a pace and running quicker, coming around the bend and into the straight, they've gathered momentum, they're about to win. That is South Africa. Two test wins in Bangladesh, they win those four at home. South Africa are guaranteed if they win their four home test matches. All I will say to people in South Africa, if any of you are watching, that is what we thought 3 weeks ago as well. So I hope it as well. But don't put it beyond Pakistan to upset in one of those games. But South Africa in a happy position, having things in their own hands. If India and Australia have a close series, it could well go to Sri Lanka versus Australia. I mean, I know if Sri Lanka lose those two with South Africa, it'll affect them. But Sri Lanka versus Australia, and DK, with your eagle eye, you might have spotted already that both those games will be in Gaul.
And you have, who do you have, Harsha?
You have Prabhat Jayasuriya. Is that
He will be like, every time he's played the minimum 5 for his new Rangana Harris.
He's got 97 wickets in 16 games. I was just reading the other day.
He is brilliant. He is the new Rangana Harris for Sri Lanka, and he has quite a record in golf.
So, and then one Rohan Mendes will come. So there are Fernandos cropping up everywhere. They will find somebody there. That series will be very tough for Australia to win. But there's no point talking. So many times when we get into a World Cup situation, we start to say, but if that happens and then they beat someone and then there's washout there and then that happens and then this run rate happens, we'll go through. There's no point talking about that. You do what is in your control and you just take whatever happens around. India had the final of the World Test Championship in control. India no longer have the final of the World Test Championship in control. So there you are. Just before we started, that little painting behind me, DK was here yesterday to see it, and he said he likes the red ball in it. So if I move somewhere, you might see a little red ball, or am I going in the wrong direction? But the fact that you can't see that red ball, the reason I'm saying that is that we are no longer going to see the red ball for a couple of weeks at least, because we're moving to white ball cricket. And there's 4 T20 games in South Africa, where if you get beaten twice, you can swing your bat, nothing happens, right? So those are the 4 games. Durban, Port Elizabeth, Quebec, Centurion, and Johannesburg. And these are areas that, DK, you've got to get to know very well, because you're going to go there and play cricket shortly. SA20, brand ambassador for SA20.
True, and I officially want to put it on record, Harsha. The highlight of this Mumbai trip for me, which has been very short, 2.5 days, I didn't expect to go back, was the dinner at Harsha's house. Harsha, the non-veg was on point, Harsha. The beauty of Harsha Bhogle is, even the caterer is a chartered accountant. That only I don't know how he's managed. You can think of various, to find a caterer who's a chartered accountant. That is a only Harsha, like, how did you even manage to do something like that?
Asked you to pick it up. No, we had gone to someone's place. We liked the food, so we asked her to come. She's a chartered accountant. Yeah, she just said, "I'm a chartered accountant," and I said, "Are you please? There are some people I'm scared of in life. Chartered accountants are one of those, because when I was studying in business school, my debit side, credit side never matched, even in the trial balance. So I've got this huge respect and fear for chartered accountants. Now, if you can become a chartered accountant, why would you become a caterer? Because she loves it. And then someone turned around and said, if you pass out of IIM, why would you be a cricket commentator? because you love it. But yeah, we're going to get back to T20 cricket, from red ball to white ball for a while before red and pink takes over. Don't forget, there's a pink in Australia as well. So we just had those dates for you. Let's put them up again. Four T20 games coming up. Surya Kumar Yadav is taking that team. It's a very exciting team, and it's a team that there should be four really good games. Ramandeep Singh is exciting. I think KKR have bet a lot on him. They're going to give him a lot more to do. Yash Dayal has been retained by Dinesh Karthik. Varun, I'm very happy for Varun Chakravarti and Ravi Bishnoi, both of them, because I think in the chances that they've got, both have done really well. This is their opportunity. And I think any T20 team you pick will be good, but this is a good team.
This T20 Indian team is the team that I'm most looking forward to only because of how exciting they play, Harsha. They go slam bang from ball one, unabashed with how their stroke making is, and it suits the format. Now, that is the key thing. You got to enjoy it, and they really play some breathtaking stroke. Yes, the Bangladesh series probably wasn't in terms of opponents, it wasn't their strongest match, but still the way they played, they just smashed some of their bowlers and some good bowlers at that. We're talking about the Mustafizurs, etc. And anyway, going to South Africa, beating South Africa is never easy. But this team, I will bet all my money to say they are going to have a lovely series. And some of these players, Nitish Kumar Reddy, who is not on this trip, also did very well in Bangladesh. And Ramandeep Singh is a young guy who I'm really looking forward to. Proper finisher, great skills, did well in emerging trophy as well. Are they going to give him an opportunity to bowl? Oh, what a catch he took as well. One of the catches, best catches ever taken by an Indian, according to me. Another bowler that I'm really looking forward to, Yash Dayal. I think he has a very bright future. He's shown the world how good he is. Vaishak Vijay Kumar, a much earned call. He's got his opportunities in IPL, done well, but most importantly, has been a very good bowler for Karnataka. Be it white ball or red ball, and he's being given the cap. He was part of that pace bowling unit that they had chosen and kept, and they worked with when they gave those contracts a few months ago for other players. They also gave certain contracts to pace bowlers. He was one of them. So they've earmarked him and brought him into the Indian team. Good on him. Here is his opportunity. Avish Khan, who had a very good IPL, gets another opportunity. So there's plenty to watch. These young stars are very exciting, Ashan. That I like to watch.
And he'll also be watching very closely because he's going to go and play there. I hope you're practicing enough. This 2.5 day break means you can go back to the gym and start playing. The one thing I will tell you is 5 years from now, Dinesh Karthik will still be saying, I have to go and play a game somewhere. He's never going to retire. So don't retire. Don't retire. We like watching you play. But I'm looking forward to seeing you in the auction. As of now, I don't know when it is. I don't know where it is. I don't know what time it is.
All Harsha fans know you'll see him in Australia in the Perth Test, but after the Perth Test, don't bother troubling him. Our man is going on a holiday yet again. First it was Kenya, now it is another part of the world. Harsha is having the time of his life.
Trying. See, we find something to laugh about on a day when India lost the a series 3-0. But yes, there's 4 games there, and then the Border Gavaskar Trophy. My feeling is, don't worry too much too soon. Yes, there are worrisome trends, but things happen that you don't expect, and you hope that will happen in the Border Gavaskar Trophy. So there you are. Dinesh Karthik will be on an early flight home to go and play with his twins, and I will catch a nap.
Take care, Harsha. Thank you so much yet again.
See you. Goodbye.